My name is Emma, I'm 32, and my own mother told me I wasn't welcome at my sister's wedding after I'd already paid for the entire honeymoon. Before I tell you how I got 28 missed calls by morning and one text message that blew my entire family apart, do me a favor and let me know where you're watching from in the comments below. It's always cool to see how far these stories travel. It all started, I guess, when we were kids. My younger sister, Sophia, was the artist, the dreamer. The golden child. I was the practical one. I remember one time in 4th grade, I brought home a report card with straight A's. My mom glanced at it, gave me a tight smile and said, "Good job, Emma." Very practical. That same afternoon, Sophia brought home a crayon drawing of a lopsided cat. My mom swept her up in a hug, declared her my little Picasso, and immediately stuck it on the fridge with a glittery magnet. That was the story of our lives. I got the brief nod for being reliable, she got the standing ovation for just being. I didn't let it make me bitter. I loved my sister. I channeled that need to be practical into a career as a financial consultant. I was good at it. So good, that when Sophia was struggling with tuition, I was the one who quietly wrote the checks. When her car broke down, she called me, not our parents. I was the family problem solver. The fixer. So when she got engaged to a great guy named Michael, my heart just soared for her. The first thing she did was call me, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Emma, will you be my maid of honor?" It felt like, for the first time, I was being seen not for what I could do, but for who I was to her. I dove into planning with everything I had. We spent hours on the phone, laughing, scrolling through Pinterest boards. It was perfect. Until my mother, Vanessa, got involved. It started small. She'd put a deposit on a venue without telling us. She'd hire a florist she knew, dismissing the one Sophia and I had picked out. Then, I noticed my cousin Olivia started showing up in photos from vendor meetings I wasn't even told about. I brought it up with my boyfriend, Nathan, one night, the frustration finally boiling over. I felt like I was being slowly, methodically erased. He just listened, and when I was done, he asked a question that stuck with me. "You've always been their problem solver," he said gently. "Have you ever wondered what would happen if you just stopped?" The real punch to the gut came a few weeks later. I was scrolling through my phone on my lunch break, about to send Sophia a picture of some floral arrangements, when I realized the group chat, Sophia's Bride Tribe, was gone from my list. My blood ran cold. I searched for it, my thumb shaking. Nothing. It wasn't a glitch. I had been removed. That evening, I called Sophia. My voice was tighter than I wanted it to be. "Soph, what happened to the group chat?" There was a long pause on the other end. "Oh," she said, her voice sounding small and distant. "Mom just thought, with your big job and all the stress, it would be less pressure for you. She said it was for the best." I felt a hot flash crawl up my neck. She was parroting my mother's words. It wasn't just a slight, it was a coordinated campaign. Still, I tried to be the good daughter, the good sister. I figured a grand gesture would fix it. I found the perfect honeymoon package to Bali, first-class flights, a luxury suite, the whole 9 yards. It cost $9,200. I booked it all, putting it on my card as a surprise gift. I thought, maybe this will remind them. This will fix it. I was so wrong. The final straw came when I tried to set up a one-on-one with Sophia. I needed to look her in the eye and ask what was really going on. She agreed to meet at our parents' house. I walked in, expecting a quiet sisterly talk. Instead, I walked into a tribunal. My mother was on the sofa, a smirk playing on her lips. My father was in his armchair, staring intently at his shoes. And Sophia was sitting between them, looking at the carpet as if it held the secrets to the universe. There was no preamble. My mother looked right at me, her voice dripping with venomous satisfaction, and delivered the line that changed everything. "We all agreed, you're not welcome at the wedding," she said. "Not as maid of honor, not as a guest. You're just not welcome." The silence that followed was deafening. I looked at Sophia, pleading with my eyes for her to say something, anything. She wouldn't look up. I looked at my dad. He just sank deeper into his chair. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. A strange, cold calm washed over me. I just nodded once, turned around, and walked out the door. I got home to my quiet apartment and for a moment, I just stared at the wall. The sound of my mother's voice echoed in my head. "We all agreed." Then Nathan's voice cut through the noise. "What would happen if you stopped?" So I stopped. I sat down at my laptop. It wasn't rage. It was clarity. I pulled up the travel confirmation. Bali honeymoon suite. First class Wilson, V. My fingers flew across the keyboard. Click. Cancel reservation. A small box popped up. Are you sure? Click. Confirm. Next, the airline tickets. Click. Cancel flights. Click. Confirm. Finally, I opened my banking app. I found the $9,200 charge. Click. Dispute and reverse. A message appeared. Funds will be returned to your account within 24 hours. I closed the laptop. And then, I did one last thing. I picked up my phone, my hands perfectly steady, and sent a single text message to Sophia. I just canceled the Bali honeymoon I paid for. I was told I wasn't welcome. I deserve to hear that from you. Goodbye, sophomore. I put my phone on silent and went to bed. The next morning, my phone screen was a war zone. 28 missed calls. A dozen angry texts from my mom, my dad, even Olivia. I ignored them all. But there was one message, timestamped 3:42 a.m., from a number I didn't recognize at first. It was Sophia, using Michael's phone. My heart hammered against my ribs as I opened it. The message was 5 words long. "I'm so sorry. Call me." My text had been the shock to the system she needed. When I finally called, the story tumbled out of her in a torrent of sobs. My mother had been systematically manipulating her for months. She'd told Sophia I was jealous, that I thought Michael wasn't good enough for her. Worse, she had gone into Sophia's phone and blocked my number, then showed Sophia fake text messages she'd manufactured to prove how I was badmouthing them. My 7 missed calls from the week before? Sophia never even knew about them. But the final piece of the puzzle, the part that made me feel sick to my stomach, was what she'd done next. My mother had actually shown up at my office in downtown Boston, demanded to see my boss, and caused a scene in the lobby, telling the receptionist I was having a mental breakdown and was a danger to the company. My world tilted on its axis. This wasn't just favoritism. This was sabotage. Armed with the truth, I agreed to one last meeting. Michael, Sophia's fiancé, insisted on it. "This ends now," he said, his voice firm. We met at my parents' house, but this time, I wasn't walking into an ambush. I was the one holding all the cards. My mother started in on her victim routine the second I walked in. "I can't believe you would react this way, Emma, after everything we've done for you." I held up a hand, and the room fell silent. "Let's stop pretending," I said, my voice even. "Sophia, Mom told you I was ignoring your calls, right? She showed you texts of me saying horrible things?" Sophia nodded, tears in her eyes. "Mom," I said, turning to her. "What you didn't count on was that my workplace has security cameras in the lobby. Or that after your visit, my CEO, Mr. Davies, called me into his office." I saw a flicker of panic in her eyes. He didn't fire me, I continued, my voice low and steady. He asked if I was safe. He saw your behavior for what it was, and he approved my request for a week of personal leave to handle a difficult family matter. He saw the truth, Mom. The whole world can see the truth when they're not being lied to every single day. The color drained from her face. She looked at my father for backup, but for the first time in his life, he wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me, his face a mask of dawning horror and shame. The fight went out of her. There were no more lies to tell. In the aftermath, my dad finally spoke. He didn't raise his voice. He just looked at my mom and said, "This is enough, Vanessa. It's enough." Then he walked over to me, his eyes filled with a regret so profound it was almost painful to see. "I'm so sorry, honey," he whispered. And that was the apology I'd been waiting 30 years for. Sophia, her face stained with tears, came and took my hand. "Will you still be my maid of honor, Emma? Please?" I looked at my sister, my real sister, who was finally seeing me clearly. "Yes," I said, my voice tired but firm. "But from now on, all wedding plans are between you and me. Mom is a guest. That's it." It wasn't a request. It was a statement of fact. The weeks that followed were hard. We started family therapy. My dad and Sophia and me, anyway. My mother refused to go. She couldn't face a room where she wasn't in control of the narrative. It was a slow process, unlearning a lifetime of toxic dynamics. 2 months later, I stood beside Sophia as she said her vows. In the quiet moments before the ceremony, as I helped her adjust her veil, she looked at me in the mirror. "Thank you for not giving up on me," she said. I just squeezed her hand. Across the reception hall, I saw my mother watching us. She met my gaze for a second and gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't an apology. But it was a truce. And for now, that was enough. A few nights ago, I was at home, looking at a framed photo from the wedding. It's a picture of just me and Sophia, caught in a moment of pure, unadulterated laughter. I realized I hadn't just drawn a boundary that day. I had redefined what family meant to me. It isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up for you with respect, with honesty, and with truth. I put the photo down next to a new notebook on my desk. On the cover, in my own handwriting, it reads, "Wedding plans, Emma and Nathan." He had proposed last month, under the stars. I'd said yes, with one condition, no drama. He just laughed and said, "With you in charge?" I wouldn't dare. And for the first time, I felt whole. Not because someone else approved, but because I finally knew my own worth. Thank you so much for listening to my story. My question for you is, have you ever had to draw a hard line with a family member to protect your own peace? How did it turn out? I'll be reading all the comments. If my story resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more. It really helps. I'll see you in the next one.